The LEGO video games are very near and dear to my heart. I grew up playing LEGO Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Batman, reliving iconic moments from the movies, and experiencing new ones in the process. Everyone else around me loved these games too. It was a cultural phenomenon. I still vividly remember collecting all the gold and red bricks, unlocking every character in the games, and using cheat codes to multiply my studs. They were simple, but they had so much love and care for the franchises involved, and their gameplay loop was a constant source of dopamine. As I grew older, I continued playing through most of the games. They were kind of like a palate cleanser for me as the industry got more complex, bloated, and expansive. But like all things, Traveler's Tales eventually succumbed to the industry. Their games grew more bloated, and eventually lost the identity of what they were in the first place. By the time I played through the Skywalker saga, I couldn't help but feel disappointed by how shallow, yet bloated everything was in the game. I thought that we would never get another LEGO game like the ones I fell in love with. And unfortunately, I'm still right. When LEGO Horizon Adventures was announced, it immediately caught my attention. It was the first big PlayStation-related IP released on a Nintendo console, going as far as advertising it within its directs. It was also the first time a LEGO game has ever adapted another video game. It was a welcome surprise. And even if Horizon wasn't my favorite PlayStation franchise, it has a lot to offer. Its world and presentation could work quite well within a LEGO environment. I also love the visual style Guerilla and Studio Gobo were taking with this project. Having everything be built out of LEGO, with a more diorama approach to its look, separated it from the games of the past. Truthfully, I was impressed. If they pull this off, I could see PlayStation doing this for many of their other IPs. It could also satisfy my need for a genuinely good LEGO game again. So, I came in pretty optimistic when I sat down to play the game for the first time. I knew things were going to be different, but I was really hoping they could pull it off. But after 6.5 hours, I watched the credits roll down my screen, and I never wanted to play the game again.
But you're not here to listen to me go on and on. This is a game, not an audiobook. So let's join Aloy as she embarks on an epic adventure on the day she travels to the village of Mother's Heart for the first time.
LEGO Horizon Adventures is a childlike reimagining of Horizon Zero Dawn, following Aloy and her friends as they battle cultists, robot dinosaurs, and evil AI, exploring a post-apocalyptic world where technology is no longer reliable and humans have returned to tribal life. While the plot is kept to the simpler side for the game, it does hit all of the narrative beats needed in order to tell a basic story. However, it does so without any of the charm from previous LEGO games. Most of the cutscenes here are just characters talking to one another like a Metal Gear Solid codec. And when you do get to a real cutscene, the tone completely falls apart. Most of these cutscenes take things way too seriously, while also embodying all of the traits of a bad kids film. Because the rest of the game lacks the charm and comedy of other LEGO titles within its levels, the developers feel forced to shove comic relief in whenever they can. There's no slapstick, visual gags, clever jokes, or anything like that. It's just characters talking and acting silly because that's the bare minimum needed in order to amuse kids.
I have a secret plan of my own. Oh yes, and it is... I don't have a secret plan!
The best moments within the game are when the developers actually do lean into the absurdity of the idea. Meeting Silence while he's working as a DJ is great, or using a hot dog vendor as a way to fight enemies is a lot of fun. But these are far and few between. Like most LEGO games, we're not playing for the story. We're playing to collect as many studs as possible, solve all the puzzles, collect the mini kits, unlock every character you can, 100% all the levels, and collect every gold brick. But LEGO Horizon Adventures fails on this front too. It's simplified to the extreme, leaving nothing left on the bone. The entire game, and every level that you play, revolves around the player walking to an arena, fighting a few enemies, and doing it all over again 2 to 3 more times. You do this over and over and over again. And throughout these levels, there are tiny little optional areas where you can find chests, but all you get is more studs. You can also build these small little objects, but once again, all you get is studs. You can also sit down at a bench, for some reason. Other than that, every level is virtually identical in its structure, and even when you enter a new area, the level still feels similar despite its visual change. As soon as I realized that this is how the entire game was gonna be, my enthusiasm died. The only levels that stand out are the cauldrons, because you finally get a puzzle or two that you need to solve in order to progress, and the tall neck levels, which are crafted in such a beautiful manner. Other than that, there's nothing. There's no puzzles, mini-kits, character unlocks, stud collecting, or anything like that. All you get is a gold brick as soon as you reach the end. And this issue extends even further than that. Apart from the main 23 missions, each area has a few side missions, but all they have you do is kill a more difficult enemy, or traverse through the same environment to then kill a more difficult enemy. But they don't add anything to the game. You do get more gold bricks here, along with some red bricks, but as far as I can tell, all the bricks do is unlock more buildings to customize in your hub world. In addition to collecting gold bricks throughout the levels, you can also gain them by completing various challenges. Some require minor changes or actions within the hub world, and others are more focused on combat. They're not really engaging though, and it feels more like busy work than anything else, especially since all you unlock is an outfit and a couple more gold bricks. And as I mentioned before, there's no longer hundreds of characters to play as. Instead, you get 4: Aloy, Varl, Teresa, and Aaron. They all play slightly different from one another, but aside from how they attack and a few distinct variations of their weapons, they're practically interchangeable. You can also level them up and purchase upgrades, but they made such a little difference to the overall gameplay that I forgot about it for most of my playthrough. Since you no longer have hundreds of characters to play as, Guerilla and Studio Gobo resorted to giving players the option to customize their figure. There are a lot of options, and I didn't like the way any of these characters looked dressed up. It just didn't fit with the tone or style of the rest of the game. And the same can be said for the hub customization. As you progress through, you can erect different buildings, changing their style, color, and plot. While it's fun at first, I never found a reason to delve deeper into it. And because it's dependent on how many gold bricks you have, most of the plots are going to look unfinished and unkempt for a majority of the game. There's just not a lot of depth to it. Lastly, I want to touch upon the combat. While it is more complex and better than the typical LEGO game, it gets boring super quick. Eventually, you're just spamming your attack and temporary gadget as you try to kill the dinosaurs as efficiently as possible. And because there's so few puzzles, no minigames, or unique stages like previous LEGO titles, you're left wishing that you could be playing any one of those other games. If every level wasn't so reliant upon the combat, I would be much more forgiving for its issues. But after my playthrough, I never wanted to engage with it again.
Yes! It's mine!
Oh, wow.
So as it stands, LEGO Horizon Adventures disappointed me. It lacks all of the qualities I love from past LEGO games, neglecting their charm, passion, and creativity for a distilled, simplified, and ultimately boring experience. It was a slog to play through and completely forgettable, even with its brief 6.5-hour runtime. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, and for the asking price of $60, it's just not worth it at that cost. Either skip this title, or wait for a deep, deep sale. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you think about the game, whether you're excited, disappointed, or hesitant. I'd love to hear what you think. Take care, guys.